Hi, everyone. I'm Rafaela. I'm a producer and a host here at the Free Press, and I'm here with Negar Mojtahedi, who is a journalist with Iran International and the host of a great podcast, Eye for Iran. Negar, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Rafaela.
This week is the perfect time to have you. You're here for UNGA, the UN General Assembly, and obviously Iran has been top of mind, which is your area of topical expertise. Trump got on stage. This was one of the biggest events, of course, of the week. And here are some of the things that he said. The world's number one sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon. Of course, he's referring to Iran. He spoke about Operation Midnight Hammer when 7 American B-2 bombers dropped 14 of the heaviest bombs on key Iranian nuclear sites. And he said, with Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity demolished, I brokered a deal. And he goes on and on and on. What did you make of his speech, and what are some of your initial reactions?
Well, I was just waiting for him to talk about Iran. As you know, he started off with, making fun of the United Nations, the fact that the prompter went down, the whole escalator fiasco, et cetera, and then boom, there came that Iran moment where it was very strong, and he took a very hard line. But at the same time, I thought about it, and I said, he's not being forward facing. He's not talking about how he's going to deal with this. He's basically running a victory lap, and he's essentially saying the problem has been solved. And in some ways, it shows that maybe he might be indifferent now towards Iran, that, they dealt with it and it's capiche now, right? So that part, I think that that's something that the Iranians would want from the government's perspective, because they would want the U.S. to think that everything's, some sort of done deal and that they are victorious, so that meanwhile they can work on their things in the background if it becomes, I guess, deprioritized essentially. So I took it as him basically taking a victory lap here.
Well, it's the perfect transition to talk about what actually happened after the 12-day war. So just to get listeners up to speed, back in June, Israel attacked Iran, killing about 30 commanders, 11 nuclear scientists. It was an operation that seemed sort of out of a movie in some ways. Then the U.S., in collaboration with Israel, to much of the world's surprise, got involved when they struck at 3 nuclear sites, Isfahan, Natanz, and Fordo. And related to the point you just made, immediately after, Trump said the enrichment facilities were completely and totally obliterated. Of course, he says this immediately after the strikes. There was really no time for battle damage assessments. So it obviously naturally rose eyebrows. And now we're hearing sort of the same tune to what you're saying, which is case closed. 3 months on from your reporting and from, speaking with different experts, what do we actually know about the damage that was done to the nuclear sites during the 12-day war?